I'm really excited to talk about consciously creating what's next. Um, Obviously, or well, I don't know if it's obvious, but most of you, probably all of you on this call who have been following energy and how energy works and the law of attraction and how that works, which is all the same thing, energy and the law of attraction, and the spiritual path and self-development all comes down to the same idea, and that's about becoming so conscious of self and who we are being in this reality to create what it is that we most want to create. So it's one of my favorite subjects, energy. Of course, everything is energy, and that's what I always say. If everything is energy, and it is, then we have a lot to talk about. So I'm going to be doing these free sessions, free calls, every so often, or as frequently as I get a download or inspiration to bring everybody to share. So I hope that you'll continue to come back. I don't really have an agenda ahead of time of what I'm going to talk about. I kind of get information on this is what we need to talk about now. So I can't even tell you what our next session will be about. Although, like I say, if everything is energy, and it is, we have a lot to talk about. So I'm so glad that you're here. And before we get started, I'd really like everybody just to, for a moment, get centered and grounded. I know for myself, I've been running all day, and I know everyone on this call has a very busy schedule. We're all up to a lot of things. And so just take a moment to feel yourself grounded and centered. And take a couple of centering breaths at your own pace. And I'm actually going to guide us through an amazing meditation shortly. So this is just kind of to create the energy of unity, kind of in our own little space, our own little bubble, that if anyone listens to this even after the call, the energy vortex that we create here together will automatically include them at that time. Thank you. That feels wonderful. So I am going to speak a little bit, and I'm going to guide us through, as I said, an amazing visualization. And following that, I am happy to answer any questions that anyone might have. And that would be questions on what we talked about tonight, questions that we talked about last time for anyone that was here last time, or just questions that you may have about life in general that maybe I can be of service and assistance. I often am able to tap into energy that exists out there in the field, to bring in information that even I didn't know that I knew. So that's always fun. So please feel free to ask questions. I'm happy to be of service in that way. So I'm going to share my screen just briefly. Yes. Okay, and I need to have this on. Okay, so that's where we want to start. Can everybody see that? Okay, so again, tonight specifically, we're talking about consciously creating what's next. And the inspiration that came in around that, well, two things. Last time I talked, I said, I mentioned become so full of yourself. And that can be triggering And it actually was to some people, because most of our life, especially when we're growing up, we hear, don't be so full of yourself. And so that can actually be very triggering. But what I mean is the self that is the authentic self, the true self. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that today to clarify that. And then, well, first I'm going to talk about the energies too. But become so full of yourself. This is from a presentation, a workshop that I do, but it's called Unleashing Personal Power. This cloud up here is kind of like the way I like to visualize what we call God, source, all that is. That is all that is. There's nothing more than that in our reality, in our universe. And so you as a soul, me as a soul, all of us individuate from this cloud or God, source, all that is. And when we individuate, we come with all of the powers that we will ever need in this life experience or any other experience that we would ever choose to have until we return back to source. We come equipped with all that we'll ever need to not only survive, but thrive. We are literally creative energy, pure potential. And this is our personal power. And this is all of these things, our strength, our unique brilliance, our essence of who we are, our mission, our purpose, our passion, our dreams, our gifts, and actually so much more than this. We are pure potential. We are the contribution that we will make either in this life experience or any other experience that we should choose to have as this individuated soul. And this is our authentic self. And so this is the part that so many of us start to feel like there's something more, but I'm not quite sure what it is. We've been going through our life trying to be as successful at everything we possibly can, just life in general, trying to be successful, life in general. And then we have jobs and we have families and we have relationships and we have all kinds of things that we have to try to juggle and try to do our very best at. At some point, many of us, and most likely everyone on this call, has come to a point where we realize that we're bigger than just this reality that we've created here on life. And this here is really what we're looking for. This is what I was looking for so long. I knew that there was something more. I had no idea what it was. And I remember one night literally just sitting on the couch with my laptop in tears, wishing that there was something that I could type into Google that would tell me who I am, why I'm here, because I knew that there was something more, but I had no idea where to turn to find it. So after a long path and process and journey of self-discovery and spiritual growth and discovery, I finally discovered that this is exactly what I was looking for, was this pure potential of who I really am behind the personality self. So this is the self that I'm talking about when I say become so full of yourself that nothing else can even exist in you. Because this is where the magic, this is where the power is. And as we're going to talk about later, the creating consciously, this is the part of ourself that we want to create with. So this is pure, boundless, limitless energy. When we decide to come to Earth and take on this physical body, we are encountered with all kinds of things on this planet, and these wonderful things that we get to play with: family, school, religions, friends, environment, media, job, and so much more. This is simply information and memory. So as long as we carry these packets of information and memory, then this becomes who I am. So when you introduce yourself, you typically use your name that you took on after you came to Earth. You tell where you have lived, where you came from, or where you live now. You may tell what your career or job is, your profession. This becomes who I am. But this is simply information and memories. This is our personality self with the small s. And this is our ego identity. And so when I say become so full of yourself, for so many of us, we're associating it with this part of ourself. And there's nothing wrong with being proud of all that we've created, all that we've built, because face it, this is a relatively hard experience on this planet in this very dense third density. It's heavy. It's so much more heavy than it is to be in other densities, and takes a lot more work to be here. Plus, as you'll see in a moment, we actually have to narrow ourselves down or make ourselves smaller to even get into this physical density, because this physical density isn't expanded enough to even hold all of who you are in all of your personal power. But if you just take a look at this screen, if you can see this, I know that we have a sidebar here, but I want you just to take a moment and look at the two of these side by side. I don't know about you, but I can feel the difference. I can feel the expansion and the potential in just the description of the authentic self. And I can feel the construct and the limitation around the personality self. Can anybody else feel that when you look at these side by side? Just let me know if you can feel that. Yeah, isn't that amazing? This is just typed words on a screen. So imagine just this energy, this pure potential that you are. We don't want to get rid of the ego identity. That's what makes us who we are on this planet. It allows us to play with all that we get to play with here and interact with other pure potential beings. But the challenge comes in when we're only identified with the personality self at the expense of the authentic self, which is where our personal power is. And this is what that looks like. It's like putting a mask over our pure power, our creative potential. Can you feel that when I place this image over that? Anyone? Can anyone share? Take yourself off mute and just share what your experience of that might be.
Lori, so this is Carol. One time I was in a women's group, and we had to take a paper plate and cut a collage out of how we see ourselves and then how we show ourselves out there in the world. Totally two different perspectives. So that's what that reminds me of.
Yeah, good point, Carol. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Marilyn, did you have something you wanted to say?
Yeah, I've just unmuted, so I may as well say something. Well, I had really bad experiences working for federal government for 10 years in my period of the 30, when I from 31 to 41. And then I just said, that's it. So I stepped out about 25 years ago. But, it's the family that I find in the information memories thing. I think it's the family, the attachment to family that like tries to get you to be like them, like live the normal. I remember my son saying to me, I was never really normal, but remember him saying to me, when he's a teenager, why can't you be like everyone else's mum? But it's just the family bit that I need to work on, because everything else isn't really in my life. I mean, I do have friends, but my friends are not in that category. Yeah.
Thank you, Marilyn. I appreciate
Okay.
you sharing that. Yes. And that's our family's job. Literally, that's our family's job, is to be the catalyst, to push our buttons, so that we have an opportunity to look at those things that we need to heal or would prefer to heal. Because we're going to talk about conscious creation, but we can't be creating with grace and ease and limitless if we've got our own triggers or patterns in the way that are emotional wounds or densities that need to be healed or cleared. And our family is the best opportunity, because they're with us the longest, to be able to push those buttons until we finally recognize, oh, that doesn't feel good. And oh, maybe I can do something about that. And typically that's what we experience when we're going through this, what we might call a dark night of the soul, or just conscious expansion, conscious awakening, is we start to recognize maybe it's me that needs to change. And because before that, typically we blame them, it's their fault. And when we turn our attention inside and we start to look for, what are those triggers? And is that serving me? And if it's not serving me, then maybe it's time for me to do the work of clearing those triggers and those emotional wounds. And actually, that's not years and years and years of therapy. It actually can be done in an hour clearing session. So it doesn't have to be hard to clear them, especially when we are at this place where we're on the verge of expanded awareness, because that means it's ready to go. When it's really coming up and pushing our buttons, it's ready to go. And so it really can be done very quickly and easily. So thank you very much, Marilyn, for bringing that up. And I know we're going to talk about that at some point, right? Yeah, great. Is there anyone else that has any comments here that would be willing to share? Hi, John. Good to see you.
Hi, Lori. How are you?
I'm great. I know you've got some insight and wisdom to share here.
I was thinking about this for the last few moments, and the last screen that you had up with, our true self, it reminded me of, especially when you filled in, there you go, especially when you outlined the personality self words into that big I. What I see when I look at that authentic self diagram is just a big circle. So nature doesn't have any straight lines, and the true essence, the true nature of our of us, as you were talking, is obviously limitless potential. And I just think of my own experience over identifying with a lot of the labels in that left hand column that are set up obviously for us to stay safe and function in the world in a lot of ways. But when we over identify and attach to those patterns and habits, like you were saying, that gets in the way of recognizing the depths and the true nature of where our power comes from, and how we can wield that power. So it's it's very interesting just to hear you talk about this, and how when you were saying that when those triggers are coming up, that's when it's ready to be cleared. And I don't think I ever kind of applied those concepts together. So I'm really grateful for you saying those words, because that really resonates with me in a big way. Um, but that was really all I had to share, is just kind of that, the circle on the right, the straight lines on the left, and then you almost like when you're doing Tai Chi, or, any type of dancing, like movement, beautiful movement, like what do you see yourself doing? You're kind of moving in these beautiful patterns of, flowing lines, and, going up and down and back and forth. And you're not doing the robot, right? Nobody's going to choose to do the robot as a dance if they need to express themselves. Maybe some people, but that's kind of what I think of. So I'll let you get back to the presentation here, but that's what I can share for now.
Yeah, thank you so much, John. Thank you so much for sharing that. And you're absolutely right. And yes, here's what we do for most of our young life. When those triggers come up, when we feel that emotion, when we feel anger or self-doubt, or any of those emotions that just don't feel good, we're typically taught to push it down. Don't cry, stop crying. Be a big girl, boys don't cry. All of those messages, our parents most often, not always, but most often, don't know how to deal with their own emotions, much less our emotions. And so we're taught to just push them down and move on. And as we get older, we create these patterns, these habits of just continuing to push them down and push them down and push them down. And really what they want to be is to be recognized, to be looked at, to be healed, and then just to be integrated, because everything is energy. And those emotions are energy. And so when we recognize that energy, I'm going to at some point do a program, one of these programs, on how to clear it. We can do a group clearing. But oh my goodness, Cassie's here. She's like the expert on clearing these energies. I forgot. Where are you, Cassie? Hold on. There she is. She's like the expert on clearing these energies. Cassie and I studied the same program on clearing these energies. But really, they just want to be recognized, looked at. And because it's energy, what we literally do is we change it from a heavier, lower density frequency into a higher frequency energy. And then we integrate that into your being. So it actually becomes something that serves you and supports you and empowers you, rather than pulls you down and causes more self-doubt and all of those things. Cassie, do you want to say anything about that?
How you described it is absolutely magical and beautiful.
It's all I've ever wanted to be.
Yeah. Knowing the process and how you described it, I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what it is. And I think growing up, at least I'm only going to speak for myself. I'm not going to speak for others, but I was taught, yes, I was the one, emotions were bad. And when you're a sensitive person by nature, for me, I attach that to I am bad. If I have emotion, I am bad. And so I was a master at shoving those emotions down. And what I'm not embarrassed to say, but what I'm now truly learning is, of course, learning how to move that emotion to a higher frequency and to transform that and integrate it. I love those words. I'm going to steal those words from you, because that's such a beautiful way to describe it. If that's okay with you.
Absolutely. The more people we can help do that, Cassie, the more people we free.
Such a great way to describe that. But what I'm realizing even now in this phase of my own personal journey is that there's no such thing as really a negative emotion, just emotions that don't feel good, right? But those, like you had mentioned earlier, those serve such a great purpose. and to be grateful for those, grateful for the anger, be grateful for the resentment, be grateful for whatever it is that's triggering you, because it is identifying a piece that is from your soul that really wants to be healed. And you touched on that earlier, and that, for me, I'm really starting to really understand that process. So there's no such thing as a bad emotion, just emotions that don't feel so good, right? So and they're there to teach us lessons, and those are the ego identity type emotions, right? So we don't want to, I feel like up to this point, sometimes I have felt like and this is my own journey, where I've wanted to like resolve ego and not live in ego, and like to open up my higher self. What I'm recognizing now is I don't want to let go of ego, because it's there to teach me these great lessons, right? And it's what makes us all human on this planet. So that's my little.
Oh, that's great. Thank you so much for sharing that, Cassie.
Yeah.
And yes, ego is what lets us have fun, and
Right.
the opposite of fun. But ego, you know what? That's the thing about living on this planet. This is a planet of duality. And that means this end and this end. And that's the game. We get to play all of it. And it's also a planet of free will. So you get to choose which end you want to play on. But that's what ego allows us to do. Ginny, thank you so much for being here. What would you like to share with us?
Well, when I raised my hand, I was looking at your other slide, the next one, and I think you had actually asked us about the image there. And so what strikes me is that the mask is not even halfway off, but we're able to see the eyes. And I think that that's a very important part of, well, kind of cliche to say that the eyes are the window to the soul, but in reality, there's some truth to that, and that the mask, the eyes are closed, and and then it's kind of like just kind of tiny, almost hidden. There's your heart, and I just felt kind of moved by the whole thing, and it almost looks like the true self, the one that's being unmasked, is kind of crying, and there's kind of like a tear flowing and floating the mask away. And anyway, I felt it to be a very moving image, and that's what I wanted to relay.
Yeah, powerful awareness, Ginny. Thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah, that's absolutely true. So something that you said really brought up a thought for me is the mask one, and you said hiding away. And have you ever felt like I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I don't fit in, and we just shrivel up and we shrink and we hide away, when in truth we are so big. And I'm going to show that in a moment. But first, I want to ask Jennifer. Jen, where'd you go? I can't see everybody at the same time with my PowerPoint up. Hi.
Hello. No, I was just gonna say, like, the picture that you had with the mask, like that just like reminded me of like having to wear a mask to follow what society dictates, right? Like sometimes we need to put that mask up and then follow, quote unquote, their rules, but then we can, take it down, like once we're at our home or when we're in a place that we feel free to do that. So that's just what that reminded me of.
Yes, very true. Absolutely. Thank you so much. Okay, well, thank you everyone for your comments. I really do appreciate it, to help me really bring these points out and expand them, because sometimes I know what I want to say, but that doesn't mean that I have the whole picture. And so it's very helpful when everyone steps in and shares your point of view. So I really do appreciate it. So consciously creating what's next, that's what inspired this, consciously creating what's next, the ascension energies. Now is go time. I mean, it's been go time for a long time, but seriously, I don't know about the rest of you, but the energy this last couple of weeks has been literally no other word other than go time. And the thing is energy is just energy. Energy is not negative or positive. It's how we bring it in to our beingness, and it filters through all that we are. And then we express that energy back out, or we feel it. And so really, it's positive or negative depending on how, depending on where we're at, both in, our expanded awareness, our own beliefs, our own level of consciousness, our internal conflicts that we were just talking about, these internal woundings. If we've got a lot of those going on, or if we've got some significant ones that haven't yet been healed and integrated, this energy is going to be hitting those wounds and exploding, saying, I'm ready to be healed. I'm ready to be let go of and integrated. So at the same time, these energies can be very powerfully created. So especially the energy of March, especially from March 7th to March 23rd, are very creative energies. And I know there's astrology around that. I'm not an astrologist. I just know the energy. But then I always check with the astrologists, and it always correlates. It's like they give me the languaging and the, where the planets are and the stars are as to why this is happening from an astrological perspective. But all I know is that we are and have been experiencing ascension energies that are intended to up-level us as humans and up-level not only our entire planet, but our entire universe. And everyone here on this call has been called to these calls because you came here to participate in that. There is not a doubt in my mind. Otherwise, when you saw my post on the Facebook, you would have just went, well, that's crazy, that's stupid, or just glossed on it. But there was something in it that spoke to you. There was an idea, an energy, a frequency, a possibility that intrigued you. And that is what spoke to that part of you that is here at this time to help the planet and everything else, us humans, through this ascension process. And what does that mean? All it means, ascension means raise. We're literally raising our frequency from a heavier, denser, third density frequency up into a fifth density frequency and or higher. Before, our planet wasn't supported with those densities because literally that higher frequency we didn't have access to it. But for all kinds of reasons that I'm not going to go into, but scientific reasons, where the planet is in the universe right now, and this was prophesized for thousands of years by many, many, many indigenous and all kinds of prophecies about this time. The book of Revelations, is one of them that many people would recognize. But this is the time. This is the time we are going through this, and all of you are here to experience this and to help with this. And that's my intention, is to really facilitate that so that we can make this much faster and easier for all of us. But these energies that are coming in are really coming in to activate some of these higher powers, these gifts that are all of our clairs, our clairvoyance, our clairaudience, our clairsentience, all of these clairs, your telepathy. So you most likely are going to find that you're starting to be more intuitive, empathic, telepathic, know things, have access to information that you just didn't have access to before. And that is what's really happening at this time. And that's what I say when I in the post, when I said we want to make sure that we're on the right side of this energy. And that's really all I want to say about that. I could actually talk about that for years and years and years. It's one of my favorite topics. So if anyone has any questions later, I'd love to answer them. But I really do want to get to this guided visualization because it's super powerful, and it's designed to help hook you up to the expansiveness of all that we are beyond just this physical being and this this box that we kind of live in. This is who I am. So that's really what I want to talk about now. Number 2 is, it's all the same, law of attraction, consciously creating what's next. But what part of you are you attracting from? That's what matters. Because if we're attracting from the small self, number one, it's a lot harder. That's when we feel like we have to work so hard to get what we want or to make happen what we want. The expanded self just knows how to work the energy of it, because everything is energy. And the expanded self says, well, why don't you, do it the easy way? And that's really what the law of attraction is. I talked last time about the movie The Secret, and I'm going to mention it again. The Secret didn't tell us about the expanded self and how to activate or use the law of attraction based on the expanded self. It basically just told us that we just need to visualize, and we need to see ourselves in the car that we want, or visualize that necklace and think about having it. That's part of it, but it's really how many have tried to do that and nothing happens, because there's really more to it. And the more to it really is in activating the more expanded self to more easily just manifest what we want. So what part of you are you trying to attract from? Here's our God cloud. Again, it's just easier for me just to imagine, God is God, source, all that is all that is. And in my mind, it's just easy to say, well, it's like a cloud up there, and then pieces of that cloud break off, and that's us individuating from that cloud. So this is what happens is when we individuate from that cloud, we have to make ourselves smaller, frequency-wise. We have to lower our frequency, make ourselves smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller to fit into this human body. Because if we fit the bigness, the wholeness of all that we are into this human body, it would literally explode it to pieces. This physical body is not built to hold all of that high frequency. So this is consciously creating is using all of these parts of you. Just because you had to make yourself lower frequency parts of yourself to fit into this human physical body doesn't mean that the rest of it left you. It's all still here. We always have access to it. And it's just a matter of recognizing, remembering that we have access to all that power that is us, and then cultivating the connection with it. So I just wanted to show you this quickly, because here's the thing. All of these energies are always with us. And this is really what it looks like. We are dynamic beings. We are not a static, fixed physical body. I mean, our physical body is relatively static and fixed, but everything that we really are, all that we really are, the bigness, the magnificence that we really are, is not static at all. We're changing in every moment and shifting. And so we want to make sure that, again, we're on the right side of this conscious creation so that we're actually creating more of what we prefer and not more of what we don't prefer. So we are literally pure potential waiting to be activated. So does anybody have any thoughts or comments on this particular piece? Because I think this is fascinating. And this is our work here. This is our, especially those who are here on this call. You're drawn to this because you know this already. You know there's more. So I'd love to hear your comments. Jennifer.
I just had like a huge energy wave come over me. Like as soon as like, even when you like flashed it up and then you went back to the other picture, like just a huge energy wave. And I just like needed to take some like really deep breaths just to like take it all in and disperse the energy throughout. It was really powerful.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, this picture just activates me. Thank you for sharing that, Jen. Anybody else have any comments on that? Okay. Well, okay. So we're going to go into, let me see it. Yeah. I am going to stop my share now. And go into this guided visualization. So if you are willing to join me in this, it actually is very powerful. So just allow yourself to come into your body and center and take a few breaths. And this is going to ask you to use your power of creative visualization. So go ahead and close your eyes. And just allow yourself to become aware of your body, the presence of your body. Just visualize your body in your mind's eye. This body, this physical body, is the most individualized, individuated body. It's the most distinct of all of your bodies that you are. It's the most separate from the all that is. And now just allow your attention to expand just beyond your physical body into what we might know as an aura. It's pretty close to the body. It's shaped like the body, but it's not as physically dense as the physical body. And this is our energy body. We can picture this as green. This green energy actually permeates and penetrates your physical body. It supports our physical body all the time. So just allow yourself to imagine the cells in your physical body opening up and allowing the energy of this energy body to come in, to fully support, energize, heal our physical body. This energy body actually contains a higher wisdom. It contains health, and it contains intelligence. So we want and we appreciate the support of this energy body. And now, just allow yourself to find the edge of this space. It expands about 3 feet beyond your physical body. So just notice Allow yourself to notice the edge where that 3 feet approximately ends, where that density of that energy body seems to end, and another begins. The next body beyond the energy body is actually more spacious. It's larger than our energy body, but yet it's denser with light. What we might know as God frequency. It's more dense with light body. So this is our mental body. And we can imagine this mental body as a transparent blue. Just feel it. This too penetrates through the energy body, penetrates into your physical body, and also supports you in all ways. It's highly intelligent, highly wise. It's your higher mind. It's where you have access to the field, so-called. It's bigger than the energy body. This one expands about 6 feet beyond the end of that energy body. But it's less shaped like your physical body. It's more like a sphere. This is still very aware of your physical needs. It's there to support you in your physical needs, giving you guidance and protection. It filters out higher frequency experiences that are coming your way that your physical body may not yet be prepared to experience. Again, we need to do some clearing in our own body, in our physical bodies, of lower density frequencies. It guides the higher light of source, and it makes the higher light of source more specific to your current state of physical self. So it really is a guide, a protector. So just feel the energy of this light, transparent blue of this mental body, penetrating your energy body, penetrating your physical body, serving you light, bright clarity. This will bring you more clarity. You'll feel more awake, more alive, and receive higher intelligence from here. So thank it. Thank it for all that it does to serve you in so many ways. And then to find the edge of this mental body. Go to where its end limit is. And once you'll find it, you'll notice that there's another body beyond the mental body. Picture another sphere of light. And this one is about the size of a large room. And it's white light. Much more dense with this source light energy. It's not filtered. This is our bliss body. This is very densely packed with high vibration consciousness, the vibration of ecstasy and bliss. This is one of my favorite places to hang out in meditation, is right here. My intention for you right now is to know this place so that you can go back here anytime. This is really the first individuated body down from source state, or what I called the cloud. This is where you first individuate from that. It's really source experiencing itself outside of itself. Here at this point, it has no recognition of you as an individual in your human body. Here, everything just is all. There's nothing exists here. This is just pure energy, pure light. And once again, allow this light energy from this bliss body to penetrate your mental body, your energy body, and then in a way that's just right for you, come into your physical body. Like a magnet, your cells, your molecules magnetically attract this white light to serve you and support you in the very highest potential of all that's possible for you. Here, it feels like nothing matters. Everything is just blissful. Only love and light. It's spacious and it's saturated with surrender. You can just surrender into, I don't care about anythingness. Because here, everything just is, and you are completely enveloped in bliss. And now allow yourself to feel the magnitude of the size of it and go to where it begins to have its limits. You'll notice that at its outer limits, it begins to fade into the next body. Feel yourself stepping into the next body, which is the ocean of everythingness. This is the God, source, all that is state. It's the state of pure everythingness. There is no duality. It's everythingness and nothingness at the same time. This is the everything of what we call pure source light. This simply is. And that isness is where physical form is created from. This is the field where the seeds of ideas are planted. And once planted here, those seeds of ideas, of desires, of dreams, begin to descend through all of your other bodies that we just touched on into physical form. This is conscious manifestation. This has no outline. It has no space, time limitations. It's love, it's light, beingness, allness. Allow this frequency, this light, to penetrate, begin to infiltrate and penetrate your bliss body. your mental body. Your mental body will adjust it so that it's just right for your physical body to receive. So that's where this happens, is at the mental body. Infiltrating into your energy body. And finally into your physical body. And allow yourself that experience. And we're going to complete here. So I'm going to ask you to thank that ocean of everythingness that is our source state. Thank it for all that it supports you in this physical experience. It's always there. You just need to access it this way or any way that works for you. But this is I found a really cool tool. So just come on back. Pretty powerful. I wish we could just sit in that together all night. Wouldn't that be nice? Feels good there, doesn't it? So for a moment, allow yourself to imagine who you were as that expanded self. All of those bodies are you. Imagine the magnificence of all that you are and all that's possible. And when we're creating from that place, that's conscious creation. And what happens is what we actually manifest into this physical reality often is far bigger, much more beyond what our physical brain mind could have ever thought of or conceived of, because our physical brain mind is associated with that I, all of the things inside of that I. And so when we wish for something or dream for something, that I typically says, well, this is really what's possible. This is what's realistic. That part of ourself, that our brain is not manufactured, created. Our brain is not mechanically equipped. I'm going to say that. I can't think of the word. Our brain literally is not mechanically equipped to think outside of that I. Literally, our brain is not mechanically equipped to think outside of that I. So if you want your bigger dreams, that you know in your heart who you truly are, what you're really capable of, you must go outside of that I and connect with the vastness of who you are. I need to see what time it is. Oh. 7:30. Okay, so I know that you've spent a whole hour with me. I appreciate it. I will stay on. For anyone who wants to stay on and have conversation or ask questions, for those who must go, thank you so much for being here. It's the frequencies that all of us bring together that make this what it can be for all of us. And we all are taking away a part of each other and supporting each other. And this is recorded, so the replay will be posted. So if you want to go and use that meditation again anytime, it will be there for you. How many loved that meditation? Yeah, I just think it's so just powerful. So, does anyone have any questions, comments, or thoughts? No, everybody's just blissed out. Great smile, Ginny. Sherry, hello. Thank you for being here. Can you unmute? Okay, while you're finding your unmute button, I'm going to ask Cassie. I'll come back to you, Sherry.
That was an amazing meditation. Thank you. Thank you for that. My question is, is that something that you do every day? This particular meditation where is that your process?
Yeah, good question. And I have done this particular meditation so many times that it really this is how I walk around. I mean, I can get cranky. I can close myself right down with the best of them. Yeah. So, but typically I am always connected to the field, always connected to the field. And this particular meditation had a lot to do with me being able to access that, in addition to clearing, the densities in our physical body. But yes.
So when I was in the process, I saw myself like blowing like little seeds out into that field, right? And then I saw like those seeds being planted, and then the roots kind of coming back through those different colors, through the different fields, back anchoring to me. Not suggesting that there's a right or wrong way to do that, but that's just kind of what came up for me. And I'm just curious what your interpretation is. That something like you hear a lot about the word manifesting, right? And everybody has their own way or their own process to do that. And that's not really ever been something that I've latched onto per se. So I'm really curious, like for myself, what is that like manifesting? I don't know.
Well, I wasn't going to answer your question because really, Cassie, that would be for you to interpret what that means to you. So as a good coach, I should ask you, well, what does that mean to you? But we're going to set the good coach aside right now, and we're going to just what came for you, the information really. I mean, it was just when you described those. And again, I wasn't going to answer because, it's really
sure.
But really, yes, there's so much for you to being planted, so much for you to there's and I know it because I can feel you. It's like literally there's like a field of possibilities just right in front of you, Cassie. They're closer than ever. It feels like in the past, like 6 months ago, a year ago, 3 years ago, whatever, that in the past, it was like part of you knew, that more was possible. That you're bigger, that you've got more to give. But it feels like for you, Cassie, that it's like right here. These are literally planted in this field right in front of you. There for you to go ahead and water and grow. Start now, do it now. And like I said, right now, these March energies are so powerful to support us in that. Does that make sense?
It makes total sense. And the thing that really came to me is when you and I met, what was that, maybe like 12 years ago or so, approximately. That was one of the things that you actually had said to me. One of the very first times that we met at a training, you said, there's something bigger for you. So it was really, when you said that, I was like, it's just so serendipitous for you to say that to me today. So
Yes, and it's right there, Kathy.
Yeah,
It's
thank you
right
for that.
there. Thank you. I love it.
thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Anybody else? Marilyn?
Okay.
There you go.
When I was in the bliss place, I remember you saying this is the place where you can manifest. And years ago, before The Secret, I realized that The Secret wasn't really spot on because you had to have it in your mind and in your heart. But when I was in that place, right, I'm going, okay, I'm going to manifest this for this person. But then what happened in that, I was given a manifestation to bring forward, which didn't come from me requesting. So because I've been looking at manifestation a lot these days and thinking, should we really be manifesting, or should we just allow the source to hand us over the dish of manifestation, what it is source wants us to manifest?
Yeah, that's
So
a good question.
Yeah, so in that space, I heard a person's name and I went, okay, bring him, manifest for that person. Yeah, when I was in there, I heard what I was supposed to manifest from source rather than me having a desire to manifest for things.
Okay. That's
But
interesting.
that was my personal thing.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I think there's a lot more depth to that. Here's would be my take on that, is that what others have, do, be is none of our business. It's none of our business to manifest for anyone. And I don't mean that in a mean way. I mean it literally. It's none of our business. And the reason is because when we individuated from source, and when we chose to come here to into this physical body, onto this particular planet, it was to have a particular experience. And that doesn't mean that as human to human, friend to friend, sister to brother, whatever, that we aren't there to help, love, and support each other. But everyone is here to have their own experience. And I'm surprised, and that's why I say I think there might be more depth to that, because, yeah, it would be my interpretation that we really aren't manifesting for anyone else. Does that make sense? Even energy.
Yes. But, my manifestation was for, of course, my aged mother to be, helped while I'm not living in the country, that. But when I was asking for that to happen, asking permission for that to happen, then.
So what you would want to do, let me just, because while this thought is here, what you would want to do, Marilyn, is not manifest for your mother to have a certain experience. You want to manifest for you to know that your mother is taken care of. Okay, so you're manifesting for you, and you want to have peace of mind and confidence and love, that knowing that your mother is taken care of, and whatever for her highest good works out and brings you peace of mind that she's taken care of. Does that make sense?
Yeah. But then there was the other thing where a person's name was heard when I was in that space. So I just gave permission for the manifestation for that person
Maybe
to have that
needs to happen. Maybe, yeah, I can see that, giving permission, but I wouldn't go out asking, to change others' experiences. I think, I see what you're saying. So yeah, if that came in, Marilyn, there's obviously a connection there of some sort, an energetic connection that is asking for your attention, I would say. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Laurie.
You're welcome.
Thank you, everyone, for hearing me.
Anyone else? Questions, thoughts, comments before we have to, oh, Cassie, yeah.
Yep, I just have one more question. So green was the physical body.
Mhm.
What did you reference blue as?
Mental.
Mental.
Mhm.
And then white was bliss.
Mhm.
And then the realm beyond bliss. What
It's
did
just
you?
pure white, it's just pure light. It's, yeah,
Pure
it's just
light.
pure
Okay.
light. It's just, yeah. Because here's the thing, is that is the light that comes through, that creates the fractals. Whoa, that was very good science. I don't really know this, but that create color. So at that point, there's no color, because that
Oh,
is the
sure.
light that comes in to
Mhm.
create the color.
What was really weird though is like I was seeing purple, like hues of purple,
And that's
and
okay.
I'm not quite sure why, but
Yeah, it's just it gives you a frame of reference. It actually, in a bigger scheme, or not, that was an expanded scheme, so a more detailed scheme. Each of these is literally connected with each of our chakras. So that's kind of where some of those colors come from. But whatever works for you, that will take you to that place where you can just be there.
I
Do
like the fractal, the word fractal, and I see like little like beams of light, like bending a little bit more, like when you describe that, which I did in essence experience that, but like I said, I felt like, I don't know if that's my logical mind, like trying to like bump into, trying to identify, but my my left
listen to
brain
that.
likes to take over sometimes.
Right. So listen to the recording and go through that again, because there's a place where it's just, and when you get to the bliss body, it's just, you let go of all that. Everything
Yeah,
just
okay.
it's just beingness. So practice that for your mental, chitter chatter.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Well, unless anyone has anything else Carol.
So as soon as I got on, I just felt the energy flow, flow, flow. It was flowing so heavily, it just knocked me out. I didn't hear much. All of a sudden I just felt myself floating away. And then I hear you, oh, come on back, or whatever it was you said. And I'm back. So I'm going to have to re-listen to it just to see what I missed.
Well, know that you received it in just the right way for you, and please listen to the recording so that you can use it again for yourself anytime.
I will. Things have been flowing. A lot have been falling into place. So, anyways, it's kind of fun, but this was
Awesome.
really interesting.
Very good. Thank you, Carol. Gail? Oh, hi, Gail.
Hi.
So good to see you in real life.
Yeah, right. Good to see you too. So when we started through the meditation, as we went through each level, well, the first thing that stuck in my mind is the healing of the wounds that you said we need to heal from our wounds to be moving through this process. And as we went deeper or further away, I felt floating, but I also felt physically pain in my legs. And it got a little more intense, a little more intense until we got to bliss. And then I didn't feel it. And then when we started coming back, I felt it all the way until we came back into the room.
Very
So I think
nice.
I have a lot of wounds that need to be healed before I'm ready to do this.
Oh, well, don't place judgment on it. It just is. And as Cassie said earlier, it's there to show us what is now ready to be healed and integrated. So we appreciate it. And so we don't want to place judgment on it. It's really there to serve us in a bigger way, bigger than our human brain can really make sense of at first. We think pain is painful, and we don't want it.
Well,
But
it didn't scare me or anything. It was just a sense. Like it just, I felt.
Felt it. Yeah, that's great. That's great. And it doesn't even need to mean that it's big, as or we know many, you said many. It doesn't even need to mean that. It just could mean that it just wants your attention and it's ready to go now. That makes sense?
Very
Yeah.
much.
Yeah. So, again, as you go through that exercise again, just thank each of those levels for being exactly right for you and showing you what they can show you and serving you in the way that they can serve you. And if it's painful in any way, emotionally or physically, just thank it for helping to point that out and knowing that, now is the time. Now is the time to transform those
Okay.
for the
Thank you.
freedom, for all of the freedom that we have to access. It's totally worth it. Thank you, Gail.
Thank you. Thank you for everything.
Oh, it's totally my pleasure. Yes, I think we
Pleasure.
need to go. Thank you all so much for being here. I hope that you got at least one thing that will help to expand your awareness of all that you are, and help you step into the moreness of all that you are, because you are a gift. You are a gift here on this planet to yourself, to so many others. And when you're raising your consciousness and your frequency, you become a gift to thousands of others that you will never even know. They might be on the other side of the planet, because everything is energy. It doesn't matter where they are, but your higher consciousness, your higher frequency could be the very thing that is uplifting someone else who is having a hard time. So you are a gift, and continue to be committed to all that you are, and you will be rewarded in this lifetime and all of the other experiences that you ever choose after this. Because believe me, when we leave here, we're going to leave here with medals of honor. I don't know exactly when the next one will be. It might be 2 weeks. It might be 3 weeks. So please watch the group, the Laws of Living an Inspired Life, and or connect with you. If you're not already connected with me on Facebook, I will be posting when the next one is and whatever the next topic is. But I'm sure it will be related to energy, and I'm sure it will be related to helping us all become more of the magnificence that we're here to be. So thank you so much.